Williams veers left, pulls up, looking for the lead, and he got it. Jalen Williams, 2 seconds, 1:11, 1:09. Now SGA probing, piercing, spinning, hanging for the lead, and SGA knocks it down. The Thunder finally get the defensive stop, and SGA puts them in front.
I'm Kenrich Williams. You're listening to Topic Thunder.
And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Topic Thunder podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Hunsinger at Thunder Chats, where you're part of the B-League Network. And this podcast is brought to you by the FanDuel Sportsbook.
Wow.
Very excited to be partnering with FanDuel. I don't even want to say this season, I guess this year, because it's not the season for us, but we are officially kicking off the partnership with FanDuel and the B-League Sports Network. So I'm thrilled, Tierney. I'm very excited. Bet Online was good to us all those years, but feels like we're stepping up, in the big leagues a little bit with FanDuel. I know we all have experience of betting with FanDuel. I think famously the last time I won a parlay on FanDuel was whenever all the guys sat and I put Jay Will for the triple-double, Wiggins for 30 points, and everybody like that. So, shout out FanDuel. I'm very excited to be part of this.
Yeah, unfortunately, in Oklahoma, we're still waiting for FanDuel to get here, but I am still excited for them to join. Shout out them, shout out Believe for getting them on our network. And it's going to be a fun time to just actually get to use a national betting website for all of our odds, and we can use it now without having to feel like we have to use other websites that are not as easy to access. So I'm happy to be with FanDuel, and we're going to be showing a lot of odds today for some of the stuff we're talking about, so we'll be using them for sure.
Absolutely. And, once the season gets going, obviously, football's king at this point. I did see that there's some degenerate gamblers out there that were betting on the Hall of Fame game tonight. But, if that's your cup of tea, that's your cup of tea. But once the NBA season gets going, we will definitely be pushing out, our picks, parlays, award predictions, what have you. It's gonna be really awesome.
You want to quickly do a little NBA Finals prediction?
Oh yeah. You got those odds? You got those odds ready for us?
I got them right here, brother.
That's beautiful. Right, yeah. Right now, FanDuel has the NBA Finals odds up right now. Magic making some big moves. We talked about them a lot in the Eastern Conference podcast we did last pod. Rockets, of course, added KD. You can't. For whatever reason, you can't see.
It's not as easy to see. I can see it on my screen. It's plus 850. I don't know why it's not showing up here as well.
Yeah, that was
unfortunate white on white situation we've got going on.
Hey, you know what? It doesn't matter, Tierney, because the only thing you need to see is the Oklahoma City Thunder a plus 230 to repeat. And I don't know if you guys know this or not. That Thunder team brought back pretty much everybody but Dylan Jones. We added Nikola Topic. We paid everybody needed to get paid. The vibes are unbelievably high. Thunder to repeat. Book it. Take it to the bank.
Pretty obvious. Yeah. I mean, not only are they the odds on favor by a mile, but they are, no moves. So it's the entire core, and the entire core is already young as is, and they're getting 1 year older and more experienced. They're going into it now with a whole lot of playoff experience from last year, which they really got a lot of because of all the stuff with the Nuggets and Pacers. But very obviously going to be picking the Thunder here. But shout out for FanDuel for getting us that graphic to put up real quick.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's like I said, exciting times, but it's also exciting times when we get to talk about the Western Conference, because the East, like I said, it's pretty much wide open in terms of who could win, just because the two top players between the Pacers and Celtics, in terms of they're contending, they're missing their two top guys. So they are not going to be, for all intents and purposes, they're not going to be winning the Eastern Conference unless something crazy, absolutely nuts happens with those teams. It's pretty wide open. But with the West, as it always is, it's going to be a bloodbath, man. Like I think the Thunder are a clear favorite. I think a lot of people feel that way, not just Thunder fans, but otherwise, like there's a lot of talent in this Western Conference, and it feels like an arms race is kind of taking place with a lot of these teams trying to build up, bolster their roster so they can try to compete with the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I can't wait to talk about it, Tierney. Let's get into it. If you want to pull up all the things you want to pull up.
Sure. We can first pull up. We're going to be also doing over-unders through FanDuel today for every team in the West. Yep. I don't know if I'll pull all of them up on the screen because it's a little bit tricky to see on the desktop here, but I'll show it a couple times. Well, do you want to do top-down again?
Yeah, that's fine. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Oklahoma City Thunder are the one on top. And, of course, have the highest over-under odds. They are set at 62.5. And like we just talked about, as you all know, who've been listening to our podcast, we've not really done a lot of changes. The entire core has been re-signed, so no issues there. We just bring in, like you just said a second ago, Nikola Topic.
Thomas Sorber.
And Thomas Sorber, yes.
Brooks Barnheiser.
We will be hopefully ready to go by the start of the regular season. But yeah, just some stuff around the edges, but the main, 8, 9 guys, 10 guys that we play in the playoffs are exactly the same. So I'll, real quick, I'll just say that's an over. I don't think we'll get 68 wins again necessarily because it's a much more competitive Western Conference than it was last season. But I still think 62 is Vegas hedging towards the middle a little bit, like they tend to do on the outskirts of these teams that are either really high or really low for over-under. So I'm going to take the over. I'm going to put out a guess now. I might change it later, but just off the cuff, I'm going to say 64 is my number.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying over easily. I think the Thunder are in a tier to themselves, not just the Western Conference, but the NBA in general. There's always a weight that you carry whenever you win the NBA championship going into the next season. But yeah. I feel like this team, it's not going to matter to them. Like they've shown the poise, in spite of the fact that they're young, like up and down the roster, like they've shown maturity. They've shown growth. Like that, I don't think it's going to be a factor to them. And, we talk about what the Thunder could have done if Chet wasn't hurt, if iHeart wasn't hurt, if, we played Caruso more, like if Jay Will wasn't hurt, if Kendrick Williams wasn't hurt at the start of the year, like we had so many injuries to our front line, like, pretty much half the season, and we still won 68 games.
I said that and then realized I wasn't exactly sure if that was the number.
I think it was 68 games.
I just threw it out there. I'm going to double check real quick. It was 68.
Let's
nailed
go.
It. I nailed that.
Yeah, memory is there. So yeah, we still won 68 games. Like I think very passionately that if we were healthy and we wanted it, we could have broke the Warriors record last year. And I think that's the same case this year. Like I'm not ready to put a record prediction. That's another pod for another day. Put a record prediction on this team. I can very confidently say I think we're getting over 62.5 wins, but in terms of the ceiling, like what the wins that we will actually have with this team, I think the only thing that is deciding that is the team itself. And I don't mean the level of play. I mean, how important is it to Mark Daignault, Sam Presti, whoever, to try to, do something historic. And, it remains to be seen what that will look like. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I think if it came down to history or health, I think everybody would choose health. But, again, another podcast for another day. But I think easily Thunder in a tier to themselves and over 62.5 wins.
I agree. The Chet injury, the Hartenstein injury, you said Kenrich, I think, injury. Those
Kenrich,
definitely.
Jay Will, we had, remember, Jalen Williams, Dub was playing center for 6 games because we literally didn't have anybody else.
Yeah. But I also think there's a factor. Well, one, there's you have the title now. Every team is going to be wanting to beat you this season. It is also I think there's a factor where it is even more that the Thunder play into health over history with the given situation with Halliburton, like where he had a calf strain that led to an Achilles tear. I think every single calf strain or calf strain-esque injury is going to be treated so much more cautiously in the regular season that even if we don't have a long-term injury like Chet's hip, I think we could see very frequent periodic, injury reports of, Shea is out from a tweaked ankle, or, I think they're probably going to slow row Alex Caruso even more because he's older and they want him for the playoffs.
He's another year older.
He's the grandpa of this team. So they're going to slow row him a little bit more, I think, and you're not going to see him in as many games. So even though I don't expect, knock on wood, proof of wood, no major injuries, I think the little injuries might add up too, because, it's for the best. So I'm not going to necessarily say that we can break that 70 win mark. But I hope to be proven wrong too. We'll have to see.
Yep. Let's get it. Let's make history. All right. Second tier. Tierney, who do you have for your number 2 team in the Western Conference?
My number 2 team, and first in my second tier, is the Denver Nuggets.
Well, you're going the opposite way.
Yeah. And I have a couple of reasons, one big reason for it, but real quick, just to, they are technically not the second highest in terms of over under. Mm-hmm. They're currently set at 53.5. I should have had that screen up the whole time we were talking there. I won't put it up the entire time, but there it is, 53.5. Here's the main reason for me. I'm in the Nuggets are the number 2 team in the West is simply because they are a proven team in terms of they can play around their superstar. And the Rockets are bringing in a very good player, mind you, and a very good superstar. Asterisks on, he is very old. And I think he's in, there was a podcast from Zach Lowe like a couple weeks, it was probably during the playoffs, where he threw out this fact that stuck in my head where I think KD is entering it's like 20th season or 19th season, something like that, whatever it is. And the fact is that he gave out was that nobody has entered this particular season he's entered in and kept up their offense or just their general production in general, except for one player, which is obviously LeBron James. And the idea is Kevin Durant a LeBron James in terms of he's just like a physical superhuman who can withstand, father time? I don't know. I hope not, because I like KD. I hope I mean, in terms of how he plays, I like to watch him play. But I think there is something to be said about a slight regression with him. And again, going back to the Rockets have not played around Kevin Durant yet, shows that they're not a proven team in that particular sense. That's the big thing for me. I also think, just as a small other nugget, I think Christian Braun is going to take another. I'm kind of buying a lot of Christian Braun stock this offseason. I think we saw a lot of what he could do in those playoffs against us. I think he fits that team perfectly as just a guy who can, if as soon as Jokic or whoever gets the rebound and then gives it to Jokic, he can just run down the court and Jokic will find him in just a very quick transition play. Very good at the rim in those types of plays. So I think he's perfect in what Jokic likes to do in transition, and also in the half court where he can just sort of cut and he always can find him. So I'm pretty bullish on the Nuggets this year, and I haven't even mentioned my guy Cam Johnson, who people are underrating or over.
The only reason.
No, I wasn't. I chose not to say it at the top, but he is a big. I like him as well. I think people underrate his defense. A little side nugget: he had a defensive rating of 108 his last year in Phoenix. He's been much worse in the Nets, but that's because they're the Nets. And I think people look at that and are like, "Oh, hey, not very good at defense." But I think it's just also where he's been at. I think he's not a stellar defender, but he can hold his own. So I think people are underrating that a little bit. So all those things. I like the Nuggets. I'm saying obviously over 53.5. I think they'll be the closest in contention at the end of the regular season with the Thunder.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and crap on Cam Johnson after I've campaigned multiple times for the Thunder to trade for him. I just think that there's not a huge drop off between Michael Porter Jr. and Cam Johnson as players. I think they do different things well. Like, I think Michael Porter Jr. is a much better rebounder than Cam Johnson. I think Cam Johnson's a much better, ball handler and decision maker than Michael Porter Jr. Their defense, both of them, kind of suspect at times. But at the end of the day, like, both players, like, the reason that you have them on your roster is their shooting and their floor spacing. So I don't know. I think you're splitting hairs with those players. I guess, is Cam younger? He's got to be, right?
He has to be. Let me double check.
What? MPJ
Well, actually, no, he might not. Cam Johnson
draft.
was pretty old when he got drafted,
Oh,
actually.
yeah. He came out with Elite Monk and all them.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. He came out with Tower Hero.
But he was still really old when it came. So, yeah, Michael Porter Jr. is 2 years younger.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, gets older, but again, finals experience. But I mean, hey, Michael Porter Jr. is also finals experience. Like, I just think it's splitting hairs. Like, I think that you lose a little bit of size. Defense, like I said, you're not gaining or losing much offensively. You get a different dimension, but Jokic is going to have to do more work on the rebounds. Aaron Gordon's going to have to do more work on the rebounds. And, maybe that's what they're expecting Jonas Valanciunas to, like, kind of alleviate. But I don't know, man. Like, in the Nugget series, and it's really funny, you hear some of these players talk. I think Hartenstein, Dort, somebody else also said it, that the one series that, like, kind of had the Thunder on their heels was the Nugget series. And the fact that, and Dolan talks about it whenever he did his game, like whenever Dort hit those, three threes, they're like late in the game in game 5, he was like, or no, that's not what it was. Whenever Jokic hit that shot, like that nuts shot in game 5, and he said, how did we not fold? Like, how did these guys not fold? And the fact that we didn't fold, and in fact, we came back and, used that as a jumping off point, catapult point for the series. It was just kind of like, it's like in Home Alone, Kevin McAllister going down the furniture stand like, hey, I'm not afraid of you anymore. And that's kind of what it felt like with the Thunder. And I guess, we're not talking about matchups like with the Thunder specifically, but I don't know. I feel like depth is also something that kind of showed its importance last year, specifically in the postseason. And I feel like the Houston Rockets are a deeper team than the Nuggets. This isn't discrediting the Nuggets. I think I have them like the 3 seed if I was picking right now. Firmly in that second tier, like I said. But yeah, I just, spoiler alert, I have the Rockets as the 2 seed, and I guess that's where we differ a little bit.
Quick side note, is Westbrook just not signed anywhere?
He's still a free agent, man. I saw somebody say, what was it? Him and DeMar DeRozan were at a Sparks game, and somebody was like, he's such a king. He's definitely a Sacramento king, but they signed Dennis Schroeder.
Oh, I thought you just meant he was like a king, like an OG. That took me a second. But yeah,
I mean,
on both fronts, yeah, in both ways. Okay, yeah, because I was like, oh, he's not on the team anymore. But then I was like, oh, he could still. Like, he declined his player option, but I was like, maybe they could bring him back, but I don't know. I guess he's probably not coming back if he declined that.
Worth noting, Cone also had the Thunder in a tier of their own, but he agreed with you. He had the Nuggets as the 2 seed, and I think that I see a lot of people.
Well, he didn't rank these by.
This is true. This is true.
But for the sake of my argument, yes, he did.
Yeah, you can say Cone agreed with you. You can take that to the bank.
I agree also with the depth thing, but I also think it's worth mentioning that the Nuggets were pretty beaten up at the time of the playoffs. And also they're getting back to Ron Holmes, which I think is like, I'm a pretty big Ron Holmes guy. I remember
I loved Holmes.
We wanted him in the draft. So he's coming back this year. And that's, whatever happens with Valanciunas, I still don't really know, but that there's some depth there if he can become something pretty quick. And then, they brought in some pieces on the outside. I know Bruce Brown wasn't what he was for their championship run, but they signed him. They have Jalen Pickett, Julian Strother, Payne Watson, all those kind of young guys that could be something too. So they have potential depth. I don't know if you could say they're deep yet compared to the Rockets, but it's the potential for depth is the argument I guess I'm making here.
Yeah, I guess, if we want to move on to the Rockets at this point, I trust the coaching of Ime Udoka more than I do Dave Adelman. Is that the coach for the Nuggets, I think?
Is that him? It was the guy that it was the Adelman. Yeah, you're right. You got it. You nailed it.
Sure. Yep. Yeah. I trust his coaching more. I think Dave Adelman did a good job for the Nuggets. Like, I think he's a solid coach for them. But Ime Udoka, what he does defensively is nightmarish, and he doesn't play you if you're not going to play hard. And, they got rid of, I guess, the couple guys that felt like didn't play hard, and Jalen Green and Cam Whitmore. And, they brought in Kevin Durant, who only thing he knows how to do is play hard because, ball is life for KD, like so much more than some of these other guys. They still have a lot of fun young pieces like Amen Thompson, Alperen Sengun's there, obviously. Now you've cleared the way for Reed Shepherd to come in there and get minutes. Summer League standout, too good for Summer League. Shout out Tyler Rucker. I just think that, with their depth and their defense, and again, just having not even just a star, just having somebody reliable to go to down the stretch, when you need a bucket. The Rockets didn't have that guy. They'd have Jalen Green once every 5 games sometimes, if he's hot. But in terms of just a guy that you can count on to get a bucket, they didn't have that guy. Now they have that guy. They have arguably one of the best guys to have in that situation. And this time, unlike in Phoenix, surrounding him, you have this defensive infrastructure of young players, freak athletes. You have a big man who can do the playmaking. KD can play off ball now, with Alperen Sengun, Fred VanVleet, Amen Thompson, or Reed Shepherd. You have no shortage of guys that you can have on the ball, and I think that, especially at this stage of his career, I think that's the best way to accentuate Kevin Durant to your team. And I think it's going to work seamlessly. Again, kind of like with the Nuggets, I'm still not worried about it. I still think the Thunder are the best team bar none. I think in terms of matching up with the Rockets, Chet Holmgren got Alperen Sengun's name on it. Kevin Durant, we got Jalen Williams, we got Alex Caruso, you name it. We got many people to throw at them. So I'm still not worried about it. But in terms of league wide and regular season, I feel like the Rockets, kind of like the Thunder did a couple years ago. They saw what they needed in the playoffs. They addressed it, and they addressed it in a big way.
Yeah, I mean, we were all saying the entire Warriors series with that Rockets team, who that. The question was who is going to take the shot, because they were completely bogging teams down. They were very good defensively, and it'd be 91-88 with 4 minutes left in the game, and you'd be who's gonna carry him over the edge? And like you said, Jalen Green might do it every once in a while. That Fred VanVleet, if he got hot, that he could do it, but it was just not one
guy. Did it against us. He
did it against us, but in the playoffs, it's not gonna be very successful long term. So they went out and got that. So that shout out to them. But here's my nitpicky part is, because everything you said I agree with. They're very deep. They have a lot of versatility in many ways. But one thing I wonder about is how much runway are they going to give Reed Shepherd? Because if you look at their guard depth, it's Fred VanVleet, it's him, and it's Amen Thompson. And then who's after that? Because they do have they signed Josh Okogie, they still have Aaron Holiday, but those aren't exactly guys you're relying on to be the creators, I guess. And one thing I guess is a possibility is that they have a lot of, big wings long, lengthy wings. They could go big, but then it's like you go up against either us or like the Indiana Pacers of last year, who can just go at 1,000,000 miles an hour in transition. You're going to get smoked. So there's that element of it where I'm like, what do they do if a team does go small ball? I don't really think they can match it that well. And then the other part of it is if Fred VanVleet gets hurt for like 15, 20 games, who is going to be, I mean, I guess Kevin Durant can be just like a point forward at that point. He can do that. But I don't know. There's the guard depth for this team is one that I'm looking at. I'm like, are they really going to have to rely on Reed Sheppard this much? Because they didn't really give him a lot of opportunity down the stretch. So that's sort of that's my one qualm with this team.
Yeah, I mean, it was a logjam last year. And I mean, you got rid of Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and Cam Whitmore. Like, those are three guys that were kind of in that guard, not even rotation because Cam Whitmore was in the rotation, but like the pecking order.
Yeah.
It's
also a little unfair because Reed Sheppard didn't get that running room, and now they're in a position where it's like they are in like title mode.
Yeah.
And so it's like, Reed Sheppard, you just gotta be that guy, or else sorry. So
that's fine. Trade him to the Thunder, we'll take him.
Sure.
Do you have the what was the over-under?
I had put it up. It's 55.
55 and a half. Okay.
Vegas loves the Rockets, and I think that's right on the money.
Yeah, that's a really good line. I can't lie.
I might even say under at 55.
I am gonna take God.
You gotta take the over on them.
I think
Had them as the 2.
That doesn't mean nothing. That's a high line. You can have them over and they still not get it. It's harder, but it's possible. I typed in stats instead of standings. I just want to see how many wins they had last year.
Oh, they had 52. I had it up earlier.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what the heck? I think Kevin Durant's worth 3 wins, so I'll give him the over.
I'll go under. Yeah, I had him as a 3 seed. Obviously, I think those 3 teams are the big ones everybody has. But now it's we all said we had to put one extra team in this sort of top 4. So, Dylan, who did you have as your 4 seed? We'll go with that first. In your second tier.
I'm looking at it, just double checking. I'm not going to put anybody else. Yeah, frigga, man. Give me the retirement home. Give me the Los Angeles Clippers.
Mm-hmm. They're so old, those boys.
They are, but man, they got some good pieces, man.
49.5.
They overachieved last year. You know, again, like a lot of that was staying healthy. Like, that's literally what they won last year. They won 50 games last year. And James Harden turned back the clock. Kawhi looked great when he was healthy. Zubac had a breakout year. Norman Powell was phenomenal for them.
Not there anymore.
Yeah, obviously they traded Norman Powell, but they bring in Bradley Beal on a veteran minimum contract. And like, the issue with Brad Beal over the past couple of years wasn't him as a player. Like, he's a solid enough player. He's not an all-star anymore. He's still a good player. But he was getting paid like an all-star. Now you can bring him on a vet minimum, and it makes a lot more sense. They also brought back Chris Paul. Shout out to the Thunder legend for possibly his one last hurrah back at where Lob City was born with him. So that'll be really interesting to see. Again, pairing up James Harden and Chris Paul once again. I think I saw something that said that they had like a 80% win percentage. Chris Paul and James Harden do together. So that's an interesting stat. It's an interesting pairing. You just kind of got to see how the pieces around those players look like. But if they can continue on that trajectory that they set last season, I think, they bring back like Chris Dunn. My brain, Derrick Jones Jr., I think, is still on that team. They brought in Brook Lopez in free agency. I do remember that. I think that's a huge get as well. Like, I think they did really well in the offseason. Like, they got old players, but they got good players, and they got good players that have playoff and finals experience as well. So, and I think that they also have players that like match that identity. And I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. Ty Lue is one of, if not the best coach in the NBA. and in terms of like X's and O's and getting the most out of his players. So yeah, I have the Rockets. I guess I have them over. Like that's also a pretty good line, but I do think they improved from last season. If they can stay a little bit healthier, who knows? It could go the opposite way and they're not healthy, but that's not what we're projecting here. So yeah, I have them at the bottom of my second tier, but honestly, if things break right, they could leapfrog.
Yeah, they're at the bottom of my second tier too. I had them as the fourth seed. Yeah, the thing with Bradley Beal, you were saying, one of the things wrong with him in Phoenix is the pay. The other thing I felt like was he was being used as like a point guard where he had to be the one that like created everything. And I feel like that's just not his brand of basketball. And now you've got a team with James Harden who likes to be the one that brings up the ball, or Chris Paul. And he can be more of just the, he's the reliable shooter role. And he can fit that role a lot better. And like you said, on a vet minimum, that's incredibly high value. Brook Lopez was definitely the other very good sort of change to this team. And the main question now is, can they repeat what they did in the end of last regular season, where they started to look like a legitimate, scary team? Kawhi was healthy. Everybody was pretty much healthy. Can they do that again? Because historically speaking, they haven't. But now that they've done it once, can they run it back again? Granted, with much older, crop of players, since they brought in Brook Lopez. I think their average age is like 33 and a half, something like that. So, health is definitely on the mind in that sense. But if they can, I think they are a legitimate threat in the Western Conference and also in the playoffs. So I think I have them as a pretty solid 4.
Shout out to V in the chat saying we'll have a historic season, 73 or 74 wins.
That is some bold claims, brother.
I'm all for it. Let's get it. Let's set history. Let's make history. Let's make people hate us even more.
Going 73 wins after a title, that's unprecedented. Well, it's unprecedented in general, but they're writing history books about that.
The Warriors literally did it.
I thought they did that after
they won in 16, and then they won.
Oh yeah.
Or no, they won in 15, and then in 2016 they won 73 games and lost in the finals.
I was thinking 16, 17.
Yep.
So, well, yeah.
But hey, we could be the first to do it and then win the title.
We're back to back with 73 wins. Never.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah, I like the Clippers.
I don't know when did the Bulls do it, and we're probably speaking out of our butt right now.
Who knows? The other team I had pretty close. Let me double check. I had my notes. I lost it.
Wow.
I'll find it. But until I figure it out, let's go to who is projected to be the 5th best odds in the West. The Minnesota Timberwolves, who are also at 49.5 wins. They had 49 wins last season. So basically they're saying one game more.
I bet the Bulls lost in the Eastern Conference Finals the year before they won 72 games.
Okay, so we're going to make history. Yeah, the Timberwolves, I think losing to Nickeil Alexander-Walker, obviously a big hit. Brought a couple of guys back. They didn't add anybody. Yeah. So they're pretty much the same team. I don't know. To me, Minnesota is still just like a team that is Western Conference Finals is peak for them. I don't really know if they did anything this offseason to make me think that they're going to be anything better than what they were last year. Rob Dillingham is going to have a little more opportunity this year with Nickeil Alexander-Walker leaving, which is interesting. But I don't think they're any better than they were last year. So if they were a 49-win team last year and they're 49.5, then I guess I have to say the under. I don't know where I project them seed wise, but for me, they're definitely in my third tier.
Oh yeah. I have them in this third tier. I have them under, and honestly, I think I'm gonna have them towards the bottom of this tier, just because
Interesting.
they're gonna be relying a lot on youth, man. Like obviously, like they gave up Nikhil Alexander Walker in free agency. You know, they still have they have Nas, they have Julius Randle, they have Rudy Gobert, but like after that, and you know, they have the courts of Mike Conley Jr. But after that, it's young guys, man. It's Rob Dillingham, and they have Jalen McDaniels. But they have like Rob Dillingham, they have Terrence Shannon Jr., they have Johan Berenger. They got friggin' Leonard Miller. Like they're gonna have to rely a lot on the youths, you know, for their bench depth. I think. Wait, do they still have Dante DiVincenzo? Yeah, they
No.
do. So
Oh, they do. Sorry.
yes, I mean, you know, you got like 4 or 5 guys, you know, like vets, like solid players that you can count on. But after that, man, like it's all young dudes, man. Like, I mean, you have Joe Ingles and you have Mike Conley, but I'm not counting on them. You know, maybe Jalen Clark steps up. He plays good defense, but he can't really do much else. Like, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting for the Timberwolves to see how they, I guess, respond to that adversity and, you know, not having, you know, this talent on the roster, because I agree, man. I think Na was very important to what they did, both offensively and defensively, and I think that they're definitely going to feel his absence. So yeah, I think I would have them like, I don't know. I might have them at like 6, like the very bottom of this. Well, I guess that's the middle of this tier.
Bottom of the playoff teams.
Yeah, I'd have them like 6, maybe 7, I think.
I might even have them lower than that, because looking at, you know, what teams are out there. Also, by the way, quick side note, they have FanDuel has them at the 4th best odds, which is crazy, to win the Western Conference.
That's Western Conference Finals tax.
I think that's just crazy. I would much rather take the Clippers below them. But yeah, I just looking at the teams we've already talked about, teams coming up, I think they could even slip to like 7. I think they actually definitely slip to 7 now that I'm thinking about it. Maybe even 8. So yeah, I don't know. I think if you're a Timberwolves fan, I just feel like you'd be really frustrated with this offseason, because now that I'm looking at it a little more closely, I'm just like, what did they do? They just, you know, you're at a point in your franchise, or you're this, you know, core, this generation, where you're trying to now be getting to the next step of the NBA Finals, and you seemingly don't really make any improvements outside of just your you know, developing a little bit more, and you have these younger guys that could develop. It's like, doesn't really seem like a reliable strategy for this Western Conference.
Right. Yeah, I in terms of like who I would have as my 5, like it gets really muddy, man. Like
there's like 2, maybe 3 teams I would put right here.
Like, I don't believe in the Lakers at all, but like I might have to put them at 5, just like default, man. Like I think if that's the case, I think I would put the Timberwolves above the Lakers, because they did beat them, and I don't love anything that the Lakers did. But in terms of like the Mavericks, like I would have had the Mavericks there, but Kyrie's talking about like, don't expect me back by the playoffs. Like he might not play all season.
That's the big question with him. It's like, because if he does come back, I think they're really solid 5 seed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's 32, 33. I don't know how much you can expect a 32-year-old to come back from an Achilles tear and be himself at any point. Because it was pretty late too. It was like what was it, April? Or was it it wasn't in the playoffs. It was when they didn't make the playoffs. Never mind. I think it was like March or April. So it was pretty late.
Yeah, I mean, you know, between him, Anthony Davis was tearing it up. Obviously, they got a lot of front court depth from like Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington. They brought in D'Lo in free agency. They got Megan Thee Stallion's boyfriend. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're an interesting team if healthy, but like if Kyrie's not there, it just like knocks the legs out from under them. And obviously they drafted Cooper Flag. We can't overlook that, and I think that I've seen that they're going to try to play Cooper Flag as like the quote unquote point forward, and he could be great at that. But
that's a lot of pressure for a rookie. Like
Right.
you're just now the immediately you're taking the reins of a team. The other thing I found when I was just looking up some stuff, apparently I didn't fact check this, but I saw it. Anthony Edwards has not played 65 or more games. He's played 65 or more games once in 8 seasons. So you couple that with like the fact that Kyrie's not going to be there. That's just more pressure on AD to play those games. And now if he doesn't, because he historically has not, it's more pressure on your young superstar. I just think that they're a house of cards. They're just very, very potentially, they could be the 5 seed, or they could just like not even be in the playoffs. They're just like very, very volatile team right now.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
So I guess since we're talking about the Mavs, just real quick, get their over-under. They are set, according to FanDuel, at, I skipped over them, 40.5. And they had last year 39 wins. So pretty much right about the same, a couple games higher. I actually would put them higher if I were to, I think Cooper Flag is a legit player. I think he can give them 2 extra wins, even if Kyrie's not out there the whole season. I'd be pretty comfortable putting him above. I could easily see a way it goes under, which is kind of what I was laying out earlier. But I'm going to hedge my bets and say over.
Yeah, I don't know. That's another really good line. I think. I mean, let me look at what the standings even looked like last year.
They had 39 wins. They were the 10 seed.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see. No, they had 21. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at a different team. My bad. That
would be the New Orleans Pelicans.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Got 40 wins. Or is it 41 wins? It's 41 wins, right?
Yeah, they have to get 41 wins, yeah.
Yeah. I guess by default, if I don't know. I don't actually know where I'd place them. Oh, this is tough, man. I think I'm just going to go against the grain. I'm going to say under.
Fair enough.
F it.
I
think I have them in my play-in tier.
Yeah, they're in my play-in tier too. Let's get this Lakers talk out of the way, Dylan.
Yeah, I don't love anything they did. They brought in, I guess, positional needs, but like DeAndre Ayton and the corpse, like the rotten corpse of Marcus Smart.
Remember when he played?
Yeah, I mean, good luck, I guess. I don't know, man. It's whenever you have, and now you have the Luka Doncic fit propaganda that's just literally everywhere, and I'm so sick of it. But whenever you have Luka and LeBron, like you're always going to have a chance. And they brought in Jake LaRavia in free agency.
I like that move.
I like Jake LaRavia. He's a guy that can do a little bit of everything. But like their big issue last year was like they were so small, and they're bringing DeAndre Ayton, and like on paper, DeAndre Ayton's like the perfect fit. But if there's one thing we know about DeAndre Ayton since he's been drafted is he is not the same player on the court that he is on paper. And sure, you look at it, you see 7 foot 252, who's the number 1 overall pick in the same draft that Luka Doncic was in. All these things. You look at his counting stats, and he's averaging like 20 and 10. You're like, he's perfect. Like, put him next to Luka and LeBron, he's going to be great. DeAndre Ayton does not have that dog in him. He is not that guy, pal.
There's a reason they just waived DeAndre Ayton from the Portland Trail Blazers.
Yeah, like, do you know how bad you have to be?
It's so ridiculous.
To be released from a team that is actively trying to lose? Like,
you're not even worth our time to not win.
Yeah, it's just,
The other funny thing with DeAndre Ayton too, and someone kind of said something similar on one of the NBA podcasts, but what was so interesting about Ayton, the reason he was the number one pick, was because he was so big and he was so raw around like his talent. He was very raw talent around the rim. And so all these NBA teams were like, oh my God, think of what he could become. Mm-hmm. And then he's year 6, 5, something like that. And it's just like, oh, yeah, he's been in there a long time. And all the NBA teams are just like, is he just this? Like, he's just the same. Like, there is no development to this. He's just that. And it's like, I guess so. And couple that with the fact that I think part of the reason he was let go was he doesn't seem like the greatest locker room guy. I'm not saying he's like, he doesn't have any like off the court problems, but I think just he's not like a good vibes guy is what what was coming on. Maybe that was just PR for the Trailblazers. I don't know. But the writing is on the wall when you have to get waived from a team that was 14th, 13th last year they were 12th. My apologies, Portland. 12th of the Western Conference. So I don't know. It's just on paper, he's fine. I don't think they really solved that particular problem, which was the problem they have. But so now the question is, does Luka and LeBron give you 49 wins? Because that's what the over-under is that 48.5. I don't think they do. As good as both of them are, I think they're like very much a 50-50 team. I think they go 42 and 42. So I'm going to say pretty heavily under.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go under as well, just because I don't really believe in them. But I don't know, man. Like, based on how some of these other teams fared, like they might be the best of the worst.
It's crazy that they had. Well, I guess they didn't trade Luka till later, but they got 50 wins last year. It's pretty crazy. They also had AD for a while. So
yeah.
All right, I have them as a play-in team as well with the Mavs. They're in the same tier for me. I don't know where you have them.
Yeah, I think I don't know who we had Timberwolves there. Okay, so I got Timberwolves 5. I think I have Lakers 6.
Yeah, I think I have. I don't remember what I said either, but I think I guess I'll put Timberwolves 5 because I didn't really say a 5th seed, and then I'll put I'm going to put the Lakers at the 7 seed. I think.
All right, who's your 6th then? Tee us up.
It's a great question. Let me go back here.
What does FanDuel have to say about these over-unders?
I guess by default, because they're the only team left. Well, there's maybe 2, but I'm going to go with this. I guess I'll say my 6th seed, and I'm not super happy about it, but I'll go with the Warriors because they're pretty much the only team left in this pot of teams that could be in that category. And they are set at 45.5 wins. Still have the Kuminga drama. He just declined it again. Not sure what's going to happen there. I'm just going to assume he's going to come back at some point for the sake of this. Yeah, I mean, they're very much relying on a extremely old core of Steph, Draymond, and Butler. With Steph's injury at the end of the playoffs too, that is a bit of a concern. So, and especially because Steph's game is not just sit on the 3-point line and shoot threes. It's like run around screens, just cause mass chaos. And if you can't do that at 36, whatever he is, 37, that's a big problem because teams are just going to sit on your butt at the 3-point line otherwise. So, yeah, I think that's a part of it. And then you kind of go down the line in terms of like their depth. It's a little, they actually don't, I'm pulling up their current roster according to Spotrac. They have 10 players right now.
Oh, wow.
Including their 2-ways. So
they got to sign some dudes.
They really need Kuminga to sign. But outside those 3, it's Moses Moody, Buddy Hield, Podziemski, Santos, Jackson Davis, and then Jackson Rowe, I guess, is a two-way. Quinton Post.
I got you.
I don't know what I think the bench of that is. I guess there really isn't any. So I'm kind of regretting them putting at the 6. I might actually put the Lakers at 6 and put the Warriors at 7 because now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is kind of gross.
Yeah, I think I put the Warriors at 7 just because they've had they'll now have a full offseason to integrate Jimmy Butler into that lineup and how he plays off of Steph and Draymond. And I do think that they was playing pretty well off of each other at the end of the year last year. So I think I'll have them at that 7 spot pretty confidently. And
do they win 46 games? I'm going to go yes.
Depends how healthy they are, but we're betting on health here. So sure.
46 is. All right. We've got
let's try to run
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more.
8, right?
I count 7.
Oh yeah. We did talk about the Mavericks, but I don't think we placed them.
I had him as a play, and I guess I didn't. I guess I'll. You know what? I'm gonna say. I'm actually gonna go Mavericks 6, Lakers 7, Warriors 8. I like the Mavericks over both those teams for sure.
Okay.
Where do you have the Mavericks?
Trying to think here. So that is my 7. So I think I'm gonna have the Mavericks at 9 or 10. And I think I'm leaning 10.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty high on the Mavericks, despite what their GM has done to this team. All right. The Spurs are next, according to the NBA odds to win the Western Conference. A lot of people love the Wemby hype. A lot of people have the Spurs pretty high in the standings. But they're still plus like 3,000 to win the conference. And according to FanDuel, their over-under is 43.5, coming off of 34 last year when they shut down Wemby. Presumably he'll be back. Yeah, I think they're still like 1 year away from being the potential of what they are with Wemby at the core. So I think this line kind of makes sense. I think 26, 27, they're going to be like a 50-win team. But for now, you know, Wemby's coming back. You draft Dylan Harper. Stephon Castle is still in the rotation and was an outstanding rookie for them. So you basically have 2 young guys there, and then Dylan Harper. We'll see what happens with him. Like that young core, I really like, but that's not a team that's gonna be able to win you more than 47, 48 games at the most. I'm not a huge fan of like the rest of what they've got going on. I feel like there's a little bit of like, what are they going to do with De'Aaron Fox is sort of a question I have, because I feel like now that you've got Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper, that seems a little bit redundant, but whatever. So I'm going to say, what was the line again? I already forgot. 43.5.
Yeah.
I'd probably go under. I think they're 1 year away from being good.
Yep, this is a team I think I actually have as my 8 seed. I think that they were well on their way before Wemby got hurt. They were able to play that to their benefit and get to draft a guy like Dylan Harper. Not only did they draft Dylan Harper, they drafted Carter Bryant like right before we drafted. And like I love Sorber, but if Carter Bryant would have fell to us at 12, I would have done a backflip. Because he is like, he's got great size as a forward. He plays phenomenal defense, and he does a little bit of everything pretty well. Obviously, you got guys like Castle and freaking Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson. They brought in Luke Cornett in free agency. They brought in Kelly Olynyk in free agency. It feels like they have a vision for what they want to do with their bigs next to Wemby, as well as have Bismack Biyombo. And then also they have Thunder legend Lindy Waters III here on their team as well. So
Good point.
yeah, I think that they have a solid roster. Like, obviously, it's not the best in the world, but once you get to this bottom half of the Western Conference, they're
pretty
all
gross.
pretty flawed. But I think that if you're just like looking at star power and like talent, I think like Wemby, Fox, Harper, Castle, like that's kind of hard to trump at this level of the Western Conference standings.
Agreed. I have them at the 9 seed, so they're also my play-in team tier list. My last play-in team tier list is reluctantly, because there's really no other team I could justify here, is the Grizzlies, Memphis Grizzlies. Their regular season over under is at 40.5. Yeah, I just don't. I think this team is a dying team that needs desperate rebuilding for the future. I know they already signed Jaren Jackson Jr., but I think Ja Morant is like not the guy.
He had us figured out.
He did have us figured out, but I think he's not the guy for this team. They gave up Desmond Bane in that trade to the Magic. That to me sort of signals that maybe they're taking a different step. They did sign Ty Jerome from the Cavs, so I mean there's that. But
brought in KCP. He's a veteran guy who's won it at a high level.
I just don't know with what he did in Orlando. It's like, what is he going to do now? Because
I don't think that he was in the right spot. I think that he thrives playing off of a really good playmaker, and Paolo and Franz are solid playmakers, but they're not really good playmaker. Say what you want about Ja Morant. He's a really good passer, so I think that he will actually do better playing off of a Ja than he did against the guys in Orlando. Won't be as good as when he was playing off Jokic, but, still an improvement. The Grizzlies, yeah, man, they're another team that kind of like I said with the was it the Rockets? No, there's another team. Oh, the Timberwolves. They're relying on youth once you kind of get into their depth spot. Obviously, you brought in Ty Jerome, and then traded for KCP in that Desmond Bane trade. But other than that, like you brought in Cedric Howard, who you traded up to draft. You have Zach Edey coming back this year. Gigi Jackson still in play. Scottie Pippen Jr., Javon Small, who you drafted, Cam Spencer, and then Jalen Willis, who you drafted the year prior. Like there's a lot of youth that you're relying on in the second round. And, if youth hits, like it's great for you, but it's also very hard to rely on. And this is a team that just feels very far away. I think that I would have them, again, like you said, like for lack of a better alternative, I think I would have them at 9, but I don't see much with this team at all.
Yeah, they're 10 for me by default because the last 5 teams we're going to talk about, I think, are just real poo-poo. So, and I will also say over, I guess, because if you're the 10 seed, you're probably going to be close to 500. So 40.5 would make it over.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, let's run through these last 5 because I think they are gross. The Sacramento Kings are next up at, where are they? 35.5.
I have a hot take for you, Tierney.
Hit me.
And it's kind of hedging here, but because it's so many teams. But I think that one of, if not 2 of, the Utah Jazz, New Orleans Pelicans, Portland Trailblazers will finish over the Sacramento Kings.
I actually agree. Well, I'm trying to think. I like the Trailblazers over them. I'm trying to think if I like any of those other teams. Maybe the Pelicans. But I could see it though. I really like the Trailblazers this year. For whatever reason, I just think they're fun.
Yeah, they got a fun young team for sure. with Scoot Henderson, Sterling Sharp, Tumani Kamara, one of my favorite players in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Denny Abdia turned it on last year. They still got Donovan Clingan. And then, of course, they've got veterans all over the place with freaking Jeremy Grant, Drew Holiday, brought back Damian Lillard for a reunion.
It's crazy how much a lot of podcasts have already mentioned this, but it's worth reiterating. It's amazing how much mentorship Scoot Henderson has now with like one of the best offensive point guards of Dame and one of the best defensive point guards of Drew. It's like, how do you have a better situation than that? So I'm buying a lot of Scoot stock just because he has the potential to really develop over there. By the way, Portland Trailblazers 33.5. I'm hammering that over.
Yeah, give me that.
And then I'm going to say the Pelicans are under. Well, no, what were they? 35? Maybe not under. I'll say they are. I'll say they're 35, so I'll say under. I don't like the Kings. I think they're poo-poo. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, Pelicans are going to be interesting. I mean, they brought in Jeremiah Fears, and like this team is always going to go how far Zion takes them. Like Trey Murphy had a great year last year. They drafted Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen. Yeah, I almost said Jeremiah Queen. I was like, what? They traded for Jordan Poole, which I think that's honestly like a pretty fun fit. Yves Missy, I thought was good. They brought in Kevon Looney, as like a veteran big.
I hated the Jordan Poole trade just for what it's worth.
They still have Herb Jones. They still have Jordan Hawkins. I think that they're an interesting roster in terms of like, at the bottom of this, these tiers, like, once you get down here, like you're just kind of looking for something to hang your hat on. If we're talking about full health and like, these young guys get some run and, they improve through the year. And of course, Zion and Trey's healthy. I think that they can get to their over.
Yeah, I was talking about Sacramento earlier as being poo-poo. I do like the Pelicans as a decent team this year. Herb Jones just loves signing. Like it's he'd sign another team-friendly deal. I think just like the other day. I wish we could have him on our team, man.
What a guy!
Him and I love Jeremiah Fears. I really just wish they would have kept CJ McCollum. Like I don't know why they did that. He's a perfect mentor for the young guards that they have coming up, and I guess all of the young guys they have with Derek Queen too. So
yeah,
but whatever. Zion is the anchor of this team. He determines everything. Joe Dumars said he liked what he saw. Don't know what that means. Joe Dumars also gave up a horrible draft or a horrible trade of a draft pick to the Hawks? No. Buck? Who was it? Who they trade? Who did he give that trade to?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'll be honest with
you.
The
Derek Queen trade where they gave up a pick.
That's a great question. I don't remember who it was.
We'll figure it out. It was an awful trade though. But anyway, Zion is the determining factor, and I think he'll be around enough to give him 36 wins. Where's New Orleans? Oh, it's 49.5. My goodness.
Oh, I'd say it is your.
Hit me with that over. So in that case, I will take the Sacramento Kings under. They're going to be over for both those guys.
Yeah, I was looking at the Jazz. I actually don't know that I can get there. So I'll say that the Pelicans or the Blazers will finish over the Sacramento Kings.
I agree with that. Yeah, Jazz and Suns are the last two. Phoenix is at 31.5. Oh my gosh, Phoenix is higher than the Pelicans. Wow. And then Utah is at 18. My goodness, they're not going to win a lot of games. Ace Bailey may quit.
He might quit. Yeah, Cody Williams is back. Isaiah Collier, like they got some interesting fun pieces, but now it's getting to the point where they've collected so many that there's log jams and heads need to start rolling there. But yeah, in between the teams, I'm taking the Suns to finish this 4th team. Like at the end of the day, like they have by far the best player in Devin Booker. They have one of the summer league standouts and another Kentucky legend, Kobe Brea. He was absolutely killing it. They traded for Mark Williams. They drafted Kamen Maluach. Like they've got options at the big man, like young options. They traded for Jalen Green. Like again, he's a very flawed player, but at the very least, he's a guy that can go out there and give you some buckets. And then they brought in Dylan Brooks, and everybody likes to say that you hate Dylan Brooks unless he's on your team. So we'll see if that's the case with the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, Jalen Green really needs to step up this year because he's now got ample opportunity to be like the playmaker of this team. I don't know if he's actually going to do that or not, but time will tell.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Booker.
I agree, but Jalen Green has to do something. He's got a lot of runway.
Do anything,
Jalen Green, to make us justify your large contract.
Yeah, and as far as the Jazz go, I'm actually going to do something that I exercise pretty often whenever I'm making picks on FanDuel. Staying away. I'm not like that's we talk about
is far too low.
Yeah, and we talk about some good lines on here. That's a perfect line. Like that's a line that terrifies me.
I mean, the Jazz won 17 games last year. You can't. I mean, surely they can win 2 more with the, what they've got cooking now. Surely.
Don't think so.
We'll see. Yeah, Suns and Jazz are my last 2 in the bottom tier if it wasn't obvious. The teams.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, the long and short of it is, it don't matter.
It don't matter. There's one on top.
Like in the West, we're talking about the one on top, baby. And we got championship aspirations. We got, as V said once again, we got historic aspirations. It's gonna be fun. I'm ready to get into it. Like I said the West is gonna be a bloodbath, and as like we talked through it, like once we got through like that next tier of teams,
it gets pretty icky.
Yeah, it got less bloody. So
yeah,
it's bloody at the top. That's all I gotta say. So it'll be really fun to see. Didn't mean to mention. So Cone's tiers was Thunder at the top, then Nuggets, Rockets, Clippers. Again, no particular order. Timberwolves, Warriors, Lakers after that, and then rounding out his play-in teams would be the Mavericks, Grizzlies, and Spurs. Then you had the Kings outside looking in, Pelicans, Trailblazers, Suns, and Jazz.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So, but what do you guys think? The listener, drop a comment if you're listening now or retroactively. Who is your surprise team in the Western Conference? Not a team that's necessarily going to win the West, because we know who's going to win the West. Just a team that's going to defy expectations in terms of their over/under, whose line's too low, whose line's too high. Let us know in the comments. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss something we go live after you hit subscribe. Like the video. And guys, I know it's the off season. Things are a little different. Like, we're trying to get creative to get content out there for you guys, but we are still doing our 2 pods a week. So through hell or high water, whether there's something to talk about or we're playing a game, we will be here 2 times a week this season. And thanks to our friends from FanDuel.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
Oh, Tierney, I just realized you changed your thing. You will die for Alex Caruso.
I will. I will die for him.
Hey, the people needed to know.
That's a fact.
Now we know.
That's a fact.
But yeah, with that being said, I hope everybody has a great night. God bless. Hoop when you can. And as always,